Hey guys, it's Benedictine's the truth. Today is the 14th of February 2024. It's Valentine's Day, and I'm alone. What is it about us that makes us seek companionship? Like you're afraid to be alone. You feel you feel lonely when you're alone, and you feel like that is not okay. What is it about us that makes us think that it would be better if there was someone in our lives? When I was growing up, I was afraid to be alone on Valentine's Day because I wanted to fit in. I wanted to tell my friends that, oh, my girlfriend bought me this, or me and my girlfriend are doing this. But the older I get, the more I actually want to be alone. I didn't think that today I would actually feel good and peaceful, because I was in a relationship that didn't work out. So I thought, on Valentine's Day I will be thinking about my ex, but I really feel peaceful. It feels right to be alone. It feels right to just think about everything. I like the fact that the older I get, the more I want to be alone. It feels right. I think I'm too different. The way that I view the world is different. The way that I want to do things is different. And the more I bring people into my life, the more I feel alone. Because people will judge you. Why do you do things that way? Why don't you do things this way? Why do you feel that way? Why, why do you not believe in this? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? If you're someone like me, you'd feel alone because people will try to make you conform. They'll try to make you normal. I can be normal. I can do things the way other people do things, and I can do things better than a lot of people. You know, I can do the things that they do better. But it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right to be fake. It doesn't feel right to do what everyone else is doing. It doesn't feel right to hide. I wanna be who I really am, and express myself as honestly as I can than to live in fear. It feels wrong. And I think the more I bring people into my life, the more I feel pressure to change. I think it's okay to be single. I think there isn't much to gain in a relationship, especially if you're someone like me, because I do not want to have children. And I have very good reasons to not want children. And I don't really like company. No, I like being alone. I think the reason why I like being alone is because I've never really met people who think like me, because I've always been different. Growing up, I've always been different. Like since I was a little kid, I was different. I knew that I didn't fit in. I knew that I felt differently than a lot of people. But I wanted to have friends, I wanted to have people around me, even though I felt alone when I was with people. I still wanted people around me, but the older I get, the more I get to understand myself, the more it feels right to be alone. I think if you can be alone and feel good, you shouldn't force relationships, because you find yourself stressing. I've realized that whenever I'm in a relationship, there's this deep emotions that I feel, but that make me feel uncomfortable. There's love, but there's also pain. There's this feeling of being misunderstood, this feeling of not being heard, this feeling of not being truly accepted, not being truly loved, and that feeling is uncomfortable. That feeling makes me insecure. That feeling makes me feel like I have to prove myself. I have to be a certain way. Like I don't feel good when I'm in a relationship, really. Like there's love, and of course there are some things to benefit, but I don't really feel the way that I want to feel. Like when I'm single, especially by choice, I feel good. No, when I say that I want to be single, you know, when I say that I don't want to be in a relationship right now, I feel good. I think a lot of people suffer because they want to look like, you know, things are going well for them. They want to post happy pictures on Facebook, knowing that they're not happy. They want to post pictures with their partners on Facebook and get likes, because they want other people to think that they're happy. But it's rare to find a happy couple these days. Like there are many people that I know that are in a relationship that are not happy for real, but of course they're gonna post happy pictures on Facebook, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think we sacrifice our peace for clout. This person is dating this person, they're happy, I wanna be like them, blah blah blah, you know what I mean? Like we want people to admire us even when we know that we're not happy. It's not easy to be happy in a relationship these days because you know people got too many options. It's easy for people to cheat. I know when people have too many options, it's hard for them to appreciate what they have. I remember when I was growing up, we had a DVD player. We didn't have that many movies. Maybe we had like 15 movies. But we loved watching those movies. We know that, okay, this is the movie that we want to watch, and then we'd watch it. Or today, this is the movie that we want to watch. And we didn't, mind watching the same movie over and over again. But now that we have access to so many movies, thousands of movies, it's hard for us to actually know which movie to watch. Like, I don't know, like sometimes when I want to watch a movie, I would sit for like 30 minutes thinking, which movie can I watch? Like it's hard to appreciate something when there's too much of it. So I think that's what makes being in a relationship, you know, hard these days. People got too many options. You're replaceable. So you constantly have to try to prove yourself because you know that you're replaceable. You know that even if your girlfriend is with you, you can lose her. You know, she can be with you while chatting with someone else, while falling in love with someone else. Like that's how it works these days. So being in a relationship is not easy these days. You know, most relationships do not work. It's like 99% of relationships do not work. No. People are breaking up every day. People are divorcing every day. It's normal now. And we don't really talk about the divorce rate. We act like that is normal. Like it's normal for people to get married and divorce. Like no. That should tell us that something isn't right. When people get married this year and then 4 years later they decide to divorce, you're like, what? Why did you get married in the first place? What made you think that it was gonna work? We have too many options, man, and we're not even using social media right. The things we post on social media, when we fight with our partners, we post about it on social media. Like everyone has to know that you and your partner are fighting. Everyone has to know what your partner is not doing. Of course, relationships won't work. You know, when I was in a relationship, I would not view my girlfriend's status because I know that if she felt like she couldn't say something to me, she'll just post the status about how she's feeling. And I hated that, you know. I would want her to just tell me if there's a problem than to just post on a WhatsApp status. So that I'll read the status and I don't know, feel insecure or feel like I'm not doing enough and stuff like. It's not easy being in a relationship these days, man. It's not easy being in a relationship, you know. You don't want to feel like you're gonna lose, you know, the person that you're with. And now it's easy to make your partner jealous. It's easy to make your partner think that you can lose them if you don't do enough. I like the peace that comes with being single, you know. You don't stress, man. And you think about what you need to be thinking about. I know that people want to be in a relationship because, well, they want to have children. But if you are like me, you know that you don't want to have children, you know that you don't want to get married, I don't know if there's a good reason to be in a relationship. You know, unless you meet someone who's good for you, because that can happen. But nowadays, when people are in a relationship, things just don't work out. You know, like most people are better off alone. So yeah, unless you find someone who makes your life better and that is better with you around, and then that's good. You mustn't try to like force a relationship. You know, people will text me like, "Yo, I feel lonely because I'm not in a relationship." I'm like, what do you think will happen when you are in a relationship? Like, you think your life will change? You think you'd feel better? Do you know how many people are in a relationship who are like stressing right now? It'll be like you just trading your peace for companionship. Like people fight a lot when they're in a relationship these days. Like they fight. You know, they even hurt one another physically. Like relationships really do not work these days. It's rare to find a relationship that's actually working. Like we don't really know what we're doing, you know, and we are broken, most of us, because well, things are not really working out. Like we can see that this is not the world that we want, and because of that we are broken. So when we get into a relationship, we expect the other person to make us feel better, to make us feel good, but that won't work. They won't be able to make us feel like that for that long. And when we start feeling like, you know, things are the same, nothing has changed, we start to get bored. We start to think this person is not good enough. Now, people who really love one another don't fight. Like when a couple is in love, they won't fight. They speak to one another with respect. Couples fight when the other person is in love and the other person, doesn't really care. That's when there's gonna be problems. But when they really love one another, they won't fight. That is why relationships are usually beautiful in the beginning, because, well, they love one another in the beginning, but then they get bored, and once they get bored, they fight about everything. Like everything. It's so funny when you hear a couple fighting. You're thinking, oh, they're fighting about something important, and you find out they're fighting because the other one didn't wash the glass after drinking, you know, the cold drink or something. Like they didn't wash the glass, so they're fighting. Like what? Is it something to fight about? You see that these people are now bored, and they don't want to accept that they are bored. Like they fight over stupid things. You snore when you're sleeping. Oh, you're always on your phone. Yeah, they're always on their phone because they're bored. You might ask yourself, if being single is better, then what about sex? I don't know who convince people that they must be in a relationship to have sex. I don't know why people believe that. I think we must do what works, you know, focus on what really works instead of putting ourselves in situations where we'll find ourselves stressing unnecessarily, we'll find ourselves fighting unnecessarily. Maybe it's better to be single nowadays. Maybe that's what works. How many people have you dated in your life? How many people have your friends dated? How many people have your friends introduced you to? Say, oh yeah, this is the person that I'm dating now, and you knew that it's gonna be over soon. Like there's some wrong with that, because it's failure if you think about it. Like when you date someone, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be with you, and you know we'll probably marry, we'll probably get married, and yeah, things are gonna work out. But things don't work out, and we pretend as if that is normal. Like people become more and more broken because of that, because of the lies that they tell themselves and the lies that they allow other people to tell them. We don't even know what love is. We like to think it's something, more profound than it actually is. Like when you love someone, it has to do with something spiritual, you guys are soulmates, and like, nah, it has nothing to do with that. Though your brain will just release some chemicals that make you feel love when you see a person that's attractive, or when you see a person that reminds you of someone that you love. Or a person that you feel like is gonna heal you somehow. You fall for that person and you think that you love them, but you don't, because that doesn't last. That's why Rick said what people call love is just a chemical reaction that compels animals to breed. How many relationships have you seen end when the woman was pregnant? Think about it. It seems like most relationships actually end when the woman is pregnant. That should show you that, you know, we feel that way. We feel love because, we're supposed to reproduce, and that's it. We're not supposed to feel like that forever. So my advice to people who have texted me saying that they want to be in a relationship, they feel alone. I mean, only be in a relationship if you feel like the person that you want to be in a relationship with is really right for you, and don't be in a relationship just for the sake of being in a relationship, because that won't improve your mental health. That will actually make you feel worse. You don't want to feel worse than you do. We live in a crazy world. You are a very conscious person. You see what is going on. So can you imagine? Can you imagine yourself dating a person that doesn't understand you, a person that doesn't make you feel like you are good enough, and you know you're constantly fighting? That won't improve your mental health. And the truth is that that's what happens most of the times in relationships. Like, people fight, bro. What you want is peace. What you want is to feel okay being alone. So that even if someone comes along, you won't really be with them because you need them. Like, you don't want to be with someone because you need them. Because if they leave, it's going to be hard for you to recover. You want to be with someone because, well, it is right for you to be with them. It is right for them to be with you. And you see that the relationship is going to work. You see how you're going to improve each other's lives. If you're gonna be in a relationship with someone because you feel alone, because you feel lonely, and that's the reason you feel lonely, so you wanna be in a relationship, it won't work. You don't wanna be in a relationship with someone because you feel lonely. You have to learn to be okay with being alone. You have to learn to be okay with being by yourself. And be in a relationship with someone because you see that the relationship itself is going to work, so that you won't find yourself forcing things, being unable to sleep at night because the person that you are in a relationship with is making you stress. You don't know where they are. They're not responding to your calls. They're not responding to your texts. You don't wanna stress. You don't wanna stress because the person you're in a relationship with, is insecure. They're always calling, they want to see if you're not with someone else and all that. Like, usually when people to decide to be in a relationship because they feel alone, they're gonna be insecure. They're in a relationship for wrong reasons. You don't want to be in a relationship because you feel alone. And you have to learn to be okay with being alone. That is so important. It's something that you should have learned when you were young, because it's possible, but I know that many people cannot be alone. There are a lot of people I know that always be bothering people because they can't be alone. Talking about people who doing well in life, they have money, they can, you know go wherever they want to go, they can buy whatever they want to buy, but they can't be alone, so they always want to be around people. They're always bothering people because they can't be by themselves. You don't want to be that person. You want to be okay being by yourself. And when you want to be with other people, you know that there's a reason why you want to be with them. Maybe you guys are going out, you decided that you want to hang out, maybe there's a party, like there's a reason. You don't just want to be with people because you can't be alone. You see, that's gonna make you suffer if you get used to being with people because you can't be alone. If you can't be alone, then learn to be alone and learn to be okay with being alone, so that you will discover new things about yourself, so that you learn how to think. Some people don't even know how to think, how to feel better. For real, there are people who don't even know how to think, bro. Like they've never been alone. They've never really had time to think, so they don't know how to think. I know people like that who don't know how to think. They don't know how to deal with their emotions. They don't know how to deal with their thoughts. It's like their children. They've never had time to be alone. They've never had time to like learn how to think, learn about themselves, get to understand themselves better. They've never really had time for that. So if you are alone now, that's okay. Learn to do things that are gonna make you feel better. Learn to think in a way that's gonna make you feel better. Try to discover new things. Try to be creative, so that you'll be able to pass time without really needing other people. Once you get used to that, you'll be good. That's why they say being alone is like a superpower. Like being okay with being alone is like a superpower, and it is. It is a superpower because most people cannot be by themselves. Most people cannot chill in one place by themselves. Like they'll stress. I know people who always want to call someone. Most people tell me, like most people in my life will tell me that I don't call them. And they'll say, you don't care about me, that's why you don't call. I'm like, dude, I don't call anyone. I'm not gonna call people just because I'm bored. If I call you, there's a reason why I'm calling you. I'm just not that type of person. I'm not gonna call you just because I'm bored. There's a reason why I'll be calling you. I'll call you maybe because there's something that we gotta talk about. But not because I'm bored. Because I'm usually not bored, so I'm not gonna call a person just because I'm bored and try to have a conversation, to try to find something to talk about. I don't like that. But I know people who call you just because they're bored. They're chilling, they don't know what to do, so they buy minutes and they start calling people. It gets to a point where when people see your call, they'll be like, whatever, this person has nothing to say. They just want to talk because you're bored and you can't stand being bored. You're trying to pass time by calling other people. I think it's better to learn to be alone, now. Maybe back then, because we used to work together as people, we used to do things together, yeah, it was good that we were with other people because we were working together and all that. But now things ain't like that. Now people just want to be by themselves. They've been through a lot. People have been through a lot. They've stressed a lot. They've seen a lot. We've seen a lot. When you think about it, we've really seen a lot. With the rise of the internet, you've seen a lot. I've seen things that the human mind cannot even handle. So we want to be alone. We want to think. We want to process everything. I don't like company, man. Like, I like the fact that I don't have friends where I live now. Like, there ain't people that are just gonna show up and just wanna chill. I mean, that sucks. Can you imagine? You're chilling alone and you're thinking, and then you hear someone knock. Like, what? You open the door and that person just wanna chill. Now you have to be bored with them. Because, well, they decided to visit you because they're bored, right? So, of course, they're not gonna like make you feel better. They're just gonna make you feel. They're just gonna share their boredom with you. It's not like they were going somewhere and they decided to invite you. That's what I prefer, actually. If I'm going somewhere, I can call my friends like, yo, I'm going I'm going to this place. Do you guys want to tag along? You know what I mean? Like, so that they will decide whether they want to tag along or not. If I want to go to that place with someone, rather than going to their home. I mean, they have no choice but to entertain me. It's not like they can just go and sleep. They have to sit with me. Do you understand? They literally have to sit with me and we have to talk. That sucks, man. So if you invite someone somewhere, they can say, well, nah, I'm sleeping, I'm doing something, you know. If they don't want to be with you at that time, they can, you know, they can come up with an excuse. That will work. But can you imagine if someone decides to visit you? What excuse are you going to have? You literally have to chill with them. I don't visit nobody. I don't call nobody unless there's a reason. Like, even like if I visit a person, there's a reason. And I'm not visiting them because I wanna stay. I wanna chill with them. No, maybe I'm going to get something from them. You know. And I often tell people that they should not overstay their welcome. That's also important. You know, people are so bored that they will overstay their welcome. You go to somebody's house and you chill with them. You guys talk, they entertain you, talk for hours, get to a point where you have nothing to talk about. You're still there, you're still chilling. Oh, leave. You leave even if you still want to be with them. Don't overstay welcome. Unless they say, like, you can tell them, oh, yeah, dude, I'm leaving. They say, no, man, like, chill, man. You know, you're going to leave later. And, you know what I mean? But you can't overstay your welcome. You can't go to somebody's house and chill for hours. So I'm saying learn to be by yourself and to be okay with being by yourself. So that you won't bother people. So that you won't get into relationships that you shouldn't be in. So because you're bored. People are toxic these days because of what they've been through in their lives. You meet a person that can't take it anymore. Yeah, a person who's already damaged. Like, you can't even make a mistake. One mistake, there's gonna be serious problems. That's why, you know, people kill each other in relationships. Like, they've been through a lot. You know, they they've been through a lot and they never got time to, like, really heal. So they're on the edge and you date them. Find yourself in trouble. Find yourself dating people that are abusing you because, well, they've been through a lot. I mean, relationships really do not work these days. Back then, relationships used to work. You know, back then we knew that when two people get married, they're going to be together. Like, that's how it works. You know, we didn't think they would divorce each other. Like, it was not normal. But now you know that there's like 80% chance that these people are going to, like, file for a divorce. You know. So imagine what that does to us. Imagine seeing the person that you thought was your soulmate with someone else. Imagine what that does to you. Imagine if there been many people that you thought were your soulmate and they were with other people and things are going well for them. And imagine how you'd look at yourself. Imagine how you feel in a new relationship when you don't feel like you're loved. You're gonna be insecure and that's gonna lead to a lot of problems. See? We live in a world that makes us feel like we are not good enough. We're not we're not worthy. Imagine how that makes people feel. Like, if you feel like you're not worthy, if you feel like you're not good enough, If you feel like you don't have a place in society, if you feel like the people who are supposed to love you don't give a shit about you. Most people feel that way. That is why relationships do not work. They try to find validation. You know, if you don't send them a good morning text, they feel insecure. Like you remind them that they're not worthy because you didn't send them a good morning text. They're like, oh, yeah, this person does not care about me, just like, the people that I've dated before, they didn't care about me. And now I see that this person doesn't care about. So can you imagine? You have to send someone a good morning text every day. Like, come on. Like you have to talk to someone. You have to talk to this person that you're dating, even if there's nothing that you talk about at the time, but so that they don't feel insecure. Like we don't know how to use technology well, man. It's not normal that you can just text the person that you're in a relationship with at any time. Like that's not normal. Like you don't even get to miss each other because you have them with you all the time. If you have your phone with you all the time, it means you have your partner with you the whole time. They can call, you can call. Like, nah, man. And when most relationships start, they start like that. Like people will be texting each other, good morning, good night, how's your day going, what are you eating? But when they start to fall out of love, they're unable to do that, and because that's not real. Like you can't, like it's not realistic to expect someone to always be checking up on you like that unless you're sick. It's not realistic. But people expect each other to do that. Like, oh, this person didn't text me, I'm not gonna text them. This person didn't call me, I'm not gonna call them. This person didn't give me money, I'm not going to talk to them. I'm going to show them that I'm angry because they didn't give me money. Like, it's like people are immature. It's like they're just big babies. They're not adults, they're not real grown-ups, they're just big babies. They don't know what they're doing. So they're looking for ways to, be entertained and make themselves feel less lonely. So yeah, I feel good, man. I feel like I'm going to be single for a while, man. So that I don't find myself stressing about things that I shouldn't be stressing about. Fighting about things that I shouldn't be fighting about. I think it's beautiful to be single and to be okay with that. Thank y'all, guys.